Just for frame of reference, this was made almost exactly a year before Cecil Taylor's first recording session. As you might imagine, DJ had trouble figuring out who was going to buy this, so they did not invite Willie back to make any more records for them, which is unfortunate. There's some quite interesting jazz sessions that were recorded on VJ, but they almost always had no follow-up from the company. By the way, the other side of this record is titled My Other Thing. Now, I've been informed that time is running a little short, so I have two sides from the very first studio recording session involving Sun Ra's orchestra. As I said, the orchestra was assembled probably in the second half of 1955. By about Christmas of that year, from what musicians have told us, it was, up to 8 or 9 pieces, and it was pretty much the band that we start hearing on Sonny's records from 1956. But the very first record they made was not done for Saturn, for Sonny's own label. It was made in January with a singer named Billy Hawkins for Heartbeat Records, which was run by Seymour Schwartz, owner of Seymour's Record Mart. Yeah. Heartbeat eventually became fairly successful, but not doing this kind of music. That's a longer story. If there's a chance later, I'll play that for you, but what I would like to do right now is close by saying just a tiny bit about Sonny's relationship with the Musicians Union. Like I said, he paid his dues regularly and all that, but he spent almost 10 years not appearing on the contract list. In '56, he starts appearing on the contract list because he had about a 5 or 6 month gig at Birdland, or Budland as it became known. And that's with the orchestra that we know from his earliest recordings on Saturn. And after that, he shows up occasionally on the contract list, although it turns out that some of his longer lasting gigs, like at the Queen's Mansion in '58, '59, or at the Wonder Inn in 1960, and we have some wonderful live recordings that John Corbett has made available to us, those were non-union joints. Okay, his name never appears there, and nobody else appears as having a contract with him either. However, you would think that given Sonny's overall attitude and the fact that he got called on the carpet in the fall of 1956 for using musicians who were not paid up with the union on a recording date, that his relationship with Local 208 would not have been so good. So it was quite amazing to me to find in the minutes from January 2nd, 1958, the statement that all of the officers for that year were being formally installed, and the examination committee consisted of Sun Ra and William Neely, both serving 4-year terms. So somebody must have liked him there, and I'm going to play a little recitation that was recorded many years later in honor of that.
This today is a judgment day. It is more like an examination day. A rule of rules of judgment be this day to judge and examine. Today is examination day. Too long delayed, yet are you too blind to the evils of non-discrimination that you cannot understand? Are you so willful even what you should be that you think you are only what others say you are? Yet perhaps you fail to realize that what you are, and thusly, and what you reap is what you sow, and so what you reap is what you are. Amen. Because what you am is what you be, and what you is you am, and what you be you are. If what you are is what you sow.
Anyway, puts a different meaning on examination day than we realized before. All right, that's where I think I need to wrap it up. Let me just remind you that the Earthly Recordings of Sun Ra is now available in the 2nd edition. Of course, the work of a number of people, including John Corbett, has made the earlier portions of that somewhat obsolete, but we'll eventually get around to fixing it. This was something I worked on with Christopher Trent in England, who's a major Ra scholar, and it's unfortunate he can't be here. And I would also, if you're interested in any of the other artists that I've been talking about, you can check them out on the Red Saunders Research Foundation website, which has some ridiculously long URL that nobody can remember, but the short form is redsaunders.com or redsaunders.org. Thank you.